Yo, what is going on, guys? We're back today for another video. So it's a Monday, just getting back in the swing of things for work after coming off the weekend. And we got something really cool on Twitter to check out. So we got a first look at Lizard in action here with some gameplay with, showing off some of his abilities. So we're going to be breaking out all of that. Now, it doesn't show too much about the new Spider-Man. All it really shows us is a little kick on Doc Ock at the start out of fight. So it doesn't show any actual abilities. So before we get into anything, I just want to remind you all about what we do know about the new Spider-Man, which was teased on the Kabam's last live stream. So early overview we have, he's going to have neutralize. So during the opponent's special attacks, they're going to get neutralized. Sounds very powerful, especially against a champion like Serpent, for example. That sounds really good. That sounds amazing. Because Serpent, the entire reason that you're unable to dex his special attacks is because he activates the true focus. But if you can neutralize that before the special attack, then you can dex him. So something to keep in mind. He also places spider seal buffs to ramp. So, that's typically an issue with Mystic champions if they are very matchup dependent and they kind of rely on the opponent having natural buffs to take advantage of. Instead of some champions just apply their own types of buffs to the opponent and they can nullify those or whatever and use those to their advantage with Mystic Dispersion or other things. And then we have, this one's weird, flexible spatial gameplay with multiple web traps. Whatever the heck that means. Typically, I find that trap-based champions usually don't work out too well. But I have a feeling, because the last 3 months of champion releases has been pretty mid for the most part. It hasn't been anything crazy. Ever since, what was it, Pride Month with Carolina and Nico, the champions just haven't been hitting nearly as hard and haven't been nearly as good, And before them, we had Bastion, Jean Grey, just a bunch of bangers, Spider-Woman. But since the last few months, it's just been kind of meh. And this is the final 2-champ month before the end of the year. So Kabams needs to pull out some craziness, because typically December is only one champion. So I have a feeling both these champions are going to be quite good. This is really all we know about this new Spider-Man currently. But let's go take a look now at Lizard and see what he's all about. So we'll jump in full screen here. Let's take a peek. Here he just kicks Doc Ock. That's literally all we get. So now here we have Lizard in action. And that's it. That's it. But, okay, a couple of things here for first. He's got the lab coat. Thank you, Kabam. Kurt Connors, the Lizard that I'm most familiar with and the one that I like the most, he's not a bad guy. In the Spider-Man cartoon, in the 90s cartoon, Lizard, he's not actually a bad guy. He's just trying to fix his arm and he ends up turning himself into a monster. He has a family, he has a wife, he has kids. He doesn't want to be this way, And I remember in one of the last Spider-Man arcs, it's with the Beyonder, and they all get taken, a bunch of heroes and villains, and they have to fight each other. And Lizard was on the villain side. But then Peter, Spider-Man, he turned him over to the good side, and then he started fighting for the heroes because he's not a bad guy, And I love the look with the lab coat. The Lizard that we got in the Amazing Spider-Man series, that's not my Lizard, bro. That's not my Lizard. This is my Lizard. This is absolutely my Lizard. All right, let's go over some of the stuff we see in actual fight here. So, first things first, ruptures. Rupture damage. That's great. It doesn't seem like the ruptures are doing very much damage, though, which is a tad concerning right off the jump, because you can see it's ticking for 134, and bro's healing for 583. So, yeah, I don't know about that. But on his special attack, he's applying Retribution, which, if we jump over to Spider-Woman, I believe that's what she applies on her special too, is it not? Yes, Retribution. So what that does is when the affected champion activates a special attack, they take increased damage from all sources by the given potency until the end of their special attack. So that's when Werewolf activates a special attack. He's going to take more damage, seemingly from the ruptures, yeah, all sources. So the ruptures that are on him will start to tick way harder during Werewolf special attacks. And then another thing with Spider-Woman is like the moment you punish right after the opponent's special attack, you also get that retribution damage on like one hit. Like Spider-Woman, I'll hit like a 30, a 40k medium crit, and then my crits will go back to normal. But you get one really big hit, right, if you punish the special in time. So that's what Retribution does. And it looks like he's stacking... Whoa, 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 whoa. He's stacking up multiple. There's multiple stacks of Retribution. Ah, man, it ends like right before he can even throw a special. That's super annoying. Kabam. Why you do this to us? But that's very interesting, because then it's probably not going to be a 100% potency Retribution like Spider-Woman's is. Because it says here, you know, by the given potency. So it's all going to depend what Lizard's Retribution potency percentage is set to. If you can apply multiple, I would wager a guess somewhere around 20 to 30% per Retribution. If I had to wager a guess, that's probably what I'd estimate. Other things that we can see here is he's applying a tracking debuff. So what that does is it bypasses the effects of miss. So he's not going to be able to miss with that active. But you can see here, like, the rupture damage is really not going too crazy. Not really at all. Alright, let's go back a bit to the start. And so we can see here, there's some type of weird passive effect that I don't know how it goes up, but when Lizard activated his own special attack here, he's triggering an unstoppable and unblockable passive. And what this actually reminded me of was actually Werewolf, because when Werewolf was in his mode, you know, and he throws his specials, he can trigger the unstoppable and unblockable after he's howling and he gets into his mode. So that actually low-key reminded me of Werewolf. Maybe that's why they had him fighting Werewolf here. I don't know. It looks like there's also a pause that got activated here. Looks like that pause was already active. So, ooh, it looks like... Yeah, I believe this pause is pertaining... Could be pertaining to multiple things, but it looks like at the bare minimum, it's pausing the ruptures here. So there might be a way to stack up like 20, 30, 40, 50 ruptures or something, because they seem to be very low potency. So it would make sense if you could stack up a bunch of them. And this little green pause seems to be pausing those. That duration is not going down at all. And then it looks like there was some burst damage here at the end. Hold on here. Was there burst damage, or is that just the you know, there was a burst. It's all happening so fast. Let's see here. So he hits him with the fangs. This is on a pretty cool animation, actually. Does 14,000. Where's the red burst? Is there a red burst, or am I tripping? Wait, there it is. There it is. So hard to see, but that was 126,000 in red. Okay, actually, hold on. Now we're kind of cooking. So maybe the amount of ruptures increases this burst damage, or maybe this on you. I don't know, but either way, it didn't seem like there was that much buildup here, and that seemed like a pretty good payoff. And that was just a special 1, right? No, that was special 2. Okay, that was a big special 2. Okay. That seems like the big damage payoff loop. Not bad. Honestly, not bad. From like the 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds that we can see, I'm already fairly impressed. A lot of good stuff going on. I'm not completely sold yet, but I think it's a pretty good start. I love the way he looks, though. The animation seemed pretty fluid. The profile picture looks awesome with the tongue out. That's great. He's science, of course. That only makes sense. So yeah, I'm really keen to see immunities. That's going to be a big one. He better have some immunities, dude. Like, seriously. Dracula only got heal block immunity, which is ridiculous. So if Lizard doesn't get any cool immunities, I'm gonna be annoyed. I'm hoping for like Rupture immunity. I'm also hoping for regen. Like, the whole point of Kurt Connors turning into a lizard is to regenerate his arm. You know, if this guy doesn't have regen, like, what the fudge? You know. So yeah, from what we can't see, I'm really hoping for regen and good immunities. The damage seems good. The damage source is good with the ruptures. Tracking is all right. I would prefer if he had like a way to counter miss and evade. I'm getting a little greedy, but you know, that would be nice. And maybe auto block too. I mean, he does counter auto block being unblockable, so yeah, there is that. And I'm very interested to see like how long this unstoppable and unblockable lasts, because it's there at the end of the special, but then it cuts. So I don't know if it starts to expire or if it just immediately goes away. I don't know. It was just a tease, just a sneak peek. But yeah, Lizard's looking pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about him. I definitely want to get him. The science class is one of the most competitive classes in the game right now. And, you know, he's got the likes of Spider-Woman of 2025 science champs to be competing with. So he's going to have to be really good. But like I said, the last few months of champions haven't been the best. And I feel like Kabam is kind of saving more of the best to end the year on, or at least I hope. So yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this video, guys. That's my breakdown. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great, wonderful day, and let me know in the comments down below which one you're more excited for: Indian Spider-Man, Provider Park, Probabukar, or Lizard. For me, Lizard for now, because we've seen gameplay, and I've always wanted Lizard, and he looks really cool, and I've known him since I was a child. So yeah, all right. Peace.